Karen Dimit. I curated a show called UPSTANDERS, which is artists who have channeled their social concerns into their art practice with the hope of taking that art that can reach across divides and connect with our shared humanity so that we can affect positive social changes.
We artists have brought our social concerns to this exhibit in many ways, both in materials and processes. My own concerns are expressed in a visual exploration of the duality of the visible present and the remembering in the mind's eye, a simultaneous experience. Our day-to-day world is filled with photos and references from everywhere, often of threatening places. They are part of the reality in our mind's eye. But sometimes, while we enjoy laughter and a glass of wine in a bar with friends, we forget our concerns for a while. These images of the mind's eye, all pervasive and intrusive, fracture our complacency. That is my subject, a narrative that is made visible through the imagination. I had always wanted to figure out how I could portray the duality that our minds have between what is real and what is in our mind, and they operate at the same time. So I always wanted to connect that but didn't have a vehicle. So this series had, the reflection series sort of was collage-like and allowed for this kind of possibility.
Of the fracturing of our vision between the
yes.
here and now, living the here and now, but what we're also imaging from in our mind's eye.
In our mind's eye, so that when we sit down with our friends and we enjoying a glass of wine, our mind can stray into what we see out there in the world, which we never really saw, but we saw projections of it on media. And it's the media electronic projections from the street that allowed the media projections in my mind, and I called it In Our Mind's Eye.
Well, it's interesting how sometimes as we're working, we're not necessarily understanding the full weight and poignancy of what we're doing. However, we are living that. And so the idea that you would choose, I think some of these images are from the Bosnian War, one of the first world things that we're seeing constant 24-hour news about of these disasters. That brings it to our home. It brings it into our thoughts and this impending threat to ourselves, even though these things are so far away. That starts to play into our interactions.
That's right. And the relevance of, 10 years ago, this painting, the first one, was done. And it could have been done yesterday. Things haven't changed very much in terms of how we process this kind of information. That's right.
But I also find that the idea that you have been dealing with this issue for a long time is like a lot of the other artists in the show, that they have recognized certain issues, and this election is not something that just happened overnight. It is a reaction to concerns that have been developing over time.
Since the late 50s, actually. As it turned into the 60s, early 60s, there were, Kennedy, and there was Martin Luther King assassinations. And then finally, 69, the Vietnam War was really a big issue. Meanwhile, we sent our children to school and did all the normal things. But there was this, there were always these various threats.
Don't abandon. I just want good time. Tortelloni.